It's my favorite time of year, November. We're wrapping things up, we have nice weather outside, I can succumb to gluttony and eat copious amounts of food on Thanksgiving, use my mom's money to buy things I don't need on Black Friday. But I have to say, my favorite thing to do is spend time with family. Virtually in Tomodachi Life. I absolutely adore Tomodachi Life. It has been my go-to game on the 3DS since the 7th grade, and for some reason, every November and December, I find myself either returning to an old save file or starting from scratch so that I can feel a sense of love and happiness. Now, I've already talked about Tomodachi Life on this YouTube channel and how I believe the game deserves a port or a sequel on the Nintendo Switch, but in that video, I also kinda brushed over a very important game in the Tomodachi Life series. Miitopia. Okay, I will admit I didn't have the kindest of words to say about Miitopia in that original video, but it wasn't because I hate the game, it's just because I prefer this. Even with my strong passion for Tomodachi Life, I must say that Miitopia is one of the most interesting and underrated games Nintendo has ever published. In order to truly understand the story of this game, we have to go all the way back to the golden year of gaming. 2017. 2017 was an insane year for video games. We saw Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Resident Evil 7, and then of course Nintendo released their brand new little home console, the Nintendo Switch. The Switch absolutely took the world by storm. Every person with a pulse wanted to get in on that peak 1-2 Switch action. And then, of course, there were other games like Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and many more. But also during this time, we saw one of the most obscure releases from Nintendo ever. Miitopia on the Nintendo 3DS. 5 months after the Switch released.
Why the hell would Nintendo release this game on the Switch? I love the Nintendo Switch. It's so cool and great and amazing, and it saved my life.
Okay, well, random person who has my phone number for some reason. Although the game was released here in North America on July 28th, 2017, which is really weird, and also the same day the new 2DS XL was released, this wasn't actually the initial release for this title, since Japan got the game a couple of months earlier in December of 2016. This is a really common theme with the Tomodachi Life series. The first game, Tomodachi Collection, was exclusive to Japan, and then Tomodachi Life was released in Japan a whole year before the United States saw the game. So it really shouldn't be a surprise that we got this game so late, but it also doesn't get rid of the fact that the 3DS in 2017 was in a really peculiar spot. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch releasing this year took a majority of the attention, leaving the 3DS to kinda just be there. Now, of course, the console was still getting new hardware and software, for example, the new 2DS XL that I already mentioned earlier, and then there were some pretty solid games like Metroid Samus Returns and Monster Hunter Stories. But the sales numbers and overall interest in the console was at a clear decline starting from 2017. As of 2022, Miitopia on the 3DS has only sold a total of 300,000 copies in the United States, which obviously does not sound like a lot, but also these sales numbers are not an indication of this game's quality whatsoever. For those of you familiar with the antics and silly, funny, goofy time of Tomodachi Life, imagine that, but 10 times weirder. And throw in some crack. Miitopia approaches the Tomodachi Life formula and changes things up by becoming an RPG. In Miitopia, you can see a bit of inspiration from the Tomodachi Quest minigame that could be played at the amusement park in Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Quest is just the stereotypical 8-bit RPG game. It didn't really have any major objective. All you had to do was defeat the boss in order to earn a prize in the game. Now, Miitopia is basically that, but on anabolic steroids. Miitopia takes the player along an epic journey that could rival that of Beowulf or The Hobbit, and along the way you encounter new friends, enemies, and whatever the this is. In Miitopia, we see the return of the most important feature in any Tamagotchi game, that being the Mii customization. The customization in this game was implemented in such a great way, since you had control of pretty much every significant character, your hero, the team that battled alongside you, and the evil bad guy were all customized to your satisfaction and made for such a comedically pleasing experience. We also saw the introduction of a new customization feature, something that may be extremely foreign to my audience. Jobs. To put it simply, jobs are the equivalent to classes in traditional RPG games. Each job has different powers and stats that'll help you progress through the game. In total, there are 14 job options, but you don't have access to all of them immediately, and you can only use 10 for your party anyways. The first set of jobs you can choose from at the beginning of the game are Warrior, Mage, Cleric, Thief, Pop Star, and Chef. The next 6 job options you got access to came after your encounters with the Dark Lord, and those are Cat, Imp, Scientist, Tank, Princess, and Flower. I have to say, one of my favorite aspects of this game is the fact that it basically forces you to try new jobs, since after each encounter with the Dark Lord, he steals your job, seals it in a jar, leaving you broke, unemployed, and on Indeed.com. But luckily, your job hunt does end successfully, and you can choose from a new set of roles, meaning you can experience the game differently instead of just playing with the same abilities from start to finish. The final 2 jobs are the post-game unlockables, those being Vampire and Elf. I actually don't have any experience with these jobs, since usually when I beat a game, I never touch that game again. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. In addition to the jobs, another major customization option in Miitopia are the personalities, which, as many of you may know, is a returning feature from prior Tamagotchi Life games. The personality options that you could choose from were kind, laid back, energetic, cool, airheaded, stubborn, and cautious. Each of these personalities played a major role in the way events turned out in the game, and could either positively or negatively affect relationships. Relationships are another key feature in Miitopia that greatly affect the overall gameplay experience. Whenever you weren't battling whatever the hell this is, you would go to the inn to rest up, and while in the inn, Miis were given the chance to share a room in order to build relationships with one another. These relationships could be very positive and help give you an advantage in battle due to the Mii's newfound friendship. However, things aren't all sunshine and rainbows around these parts, because some Miis could develop jealousy and even cause quarrels that will hurt you in battle. Overall, the variety of character customization options through the use of jobs and personalities made this game a unique experience for everyone, and for the most part, no 2 playthroughs were the same. As for the things that you're battling throughout the game, the developers decided to pop off with the enemy design. In Miitopia, there is a total of 251 monsters to battle, including the main bosses, and usually when a game has this many enemies, they tend to become a little repetitive, but that is not the case whatsoever in this game. Each enemy was unique and memorable, and I still find myself today randomly remembering monsters. For example, the Twerky. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. There was a monster in Miitopia called Twerky. Look at it. Alright, I've yapped long enough about the character customization and monsters. You guys don't even care anymore. So let's get into the meat of things. The shaboing boing, some would say. The story. A tale of love, happiness, and tragedy. Okay, I'm kind of over-exaggerating right now. The story isn't actually that insane, but it was still really enjoyable. If you're familiar with the original 3 Paper Mario games, then you would feel pretty at home with Miitopia, since this game is structured like a storybook, with each new stage being a chapter. Personally, I really enjoyed the way chapters were done in this game, since each new area had a variety of battles and even quizzes scattered across the map. Also, I was a big fan of the overall artistic direction in each chapter. They all felt unique and different from the rest. However, I did find the story to be rather repetitive in each area, but not to the point where it negatively affected my experience. Also, the story did end up coming together at the end of the game, and the conclusion was surprisingly really good. I don't want to spoil it for my viewers who haven't played it, but just know it's a bit of a tearjerker. The Miitopia experience is just one big fever dream and something I am so glad to have experienced twice in my life. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. Twice. My first time playing Miitopia cummed on me in 2018, a year after the game was first released on the 3DS. I'd gotten the game on sale from Walmart during Black Friday and decided to give it a try since I noticed my new 2DS XL I'd bought a year prior was just collecting dust, and in order to justify this purchase, I had to play something, and I am so glad it was Miitopia. I sunk so many hours into this game, customizing characters, building relationships, and hubba dubba what? Now, after completing my initial playthrough of this game on the 3DS, I kinda just forgot about its existence. Like I mentioned, I don't commonly replay or revisit games after beating them unless I am truly attached to that game, so Miitopia kinda just faded away from me. Until 2021. The February 17th, 2021 Nintendo Direct was a very weird experience for me. They announced Mario Golf Super Rush, which, as many of you may know, made me want to sound myself. We also saw the announcement of Skyward Sword HD, the special Joy-Cons, and Splatoon 3, but the most obscure announcement from this Direct was Miitopia being ported to the Switch. Yes, I know I've praised Miitopia this entire video, but at the time, I was kinda conflicted about this reveal. I wanted a Tamagotchi Life port or sequel more than anything, so to see a spin-off get on the Switch first was kinda disappointing in my eyes. Even with my immense sadness and hatred towards Nintendo for neglecting Tamagotchi Life, I still bought this game on the day it was released in May of 2021, and I have to say, this game is very Miitopia. A majority of the features that we knew and loved in the 3DS version of the game were present in the Switch port, but we also saw the addition of some gameplay and feature changes. The most significant changes were definitely the increase in customization options, such as makeup and wigs, and then there was also there was a horse, okay? There was a horse. I don't really understand the thought process the developers and Nintendo had behind the horse, but they decided to market this horse as a major addition to Miitopia on the Switch, and honestly, I mean, I kinda liked it, I guess. And with that, this wraps up the entire Miitopia experience. The game was really weird, but in a good way. Now, for the version I recommend everyone plays, if you have money and a Switch, then get the Switch version. But if you have a brain and a 3DS, then I recommend you go visit my favorite little shop that starts with an 8.